Hi there folks, this is Alex Cowles, aka Stillhead, and previously Different, and I'm going to take you through the project file for my single Pounds of Gold featuring Zoe Elling, which is out now. This project file is going to be available for you to download, and the only differences are that where I have used things like Massive Synth to create sounds, I'll render them to audio so that you don't need to worry about having any of the VSTs that I've used. Everything else that I've used is stuff from in the box, and you should be able to open this with Ableton 9. Okay, a quick bit about the structure. First of all, the track is split into more or less 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of 32 bar sections. The intro, the main section, the first one, the breakdown, another main section, second one, and the outro. Within the file, each track is labelled, and you can see kick, percussion, crash, the dubby sounds, bass sounds, and the rest of those on the bottom are vocals. So I'll very quickly work through one or two of these, and then you should be able to get an idea of how I put the track together. Okay, so first up we have the kick sound. Very simply, this is a basic kick pattern, and I have used a drum rack. Normally this drum rack has a whole bunch of different kicks in there, which I will drag onto the track and use in various situations. For the purposes of this file, I've got rid of the other ones so that we're not giving you an absolutely giant file to download. However, you can see there's a bit of an EQ8 on the bottom and a punch around the 100 mark, as well as a little bit of a gentle squeeze on the compressor, and that's more or less it. Quite a simple pattern that you can see. Okay, moving on, the percussion. We have various different bits of percussion here, all grouped together in the percussion track with a compressor on there. We have things like the rim shots. Again, these are from drum racks, and the same with the snares and the hat sounds, which you can hear. Again, relatively simple patterns. These are patterns that I've built up just using the pen tool or the pencil tool to just drop these in and have them sit on the beats. Other than that, we have this little sound in here. Now, essentially, as well as the gate that we've got on there, just to clean it up a little bit, and the reverb, as well as the EQ for the note bottom end, this is basically just a sample that has been I've put the volume envelope just to catch this little bit out, and I've moved the playhead to the second beat there. So that's just a bunch of sort of glitchy sounds. All I wanted was that one, and you can hear it in the mix. Let's let it play through again, you'll see it. Quite subtle, but something that I wanted to add into the mix. Again, the snare, we have just a sample, and that's run with an EQ8, reverb, and a gentle squeeze compressor. Most of the things I have, or almost all the channels I have here, have reverb on them, but I've chosen to keep that individual to the track as opposed to run it through a bus, because I like to have the additional control for each track. I prefer to keep the reverb local to the tracks. As well as the percussion, we have a crash sound, which is just a basic sample that has an EQ to take the bottom off, and then the reverb with a high dry-wet ratio and a decay time of 9 seconds to give it a real long sort of a long tail. And you can hear it almost goes for sort of four bars there. Now, the core of the track is the sort of dubby sounds which I've got. Now, basically, these are all made in Massive, and I tend to create quite specific patches. I'll program my own patches from scratch, and this one is no different. To get an idea of the sound, you can hear. Now, it's just a real long sort of key sound. Basically, we have two oscillators here, 1 and 2. One set to rough math 2, the other one set to a smooth square, and those are at full volume, and they're running through filter 1, which is a cutoff, a low pass filter with quite a high cutoff, and that goes through to the mix. And then we also have some noise down here, which is also going through filter 2. Those filters are running in parallel, and filter 2 is a double notch filter just to give it a bit of texture, and we have a mix between the two of those filters which goes into the rest. And we've got the reverb here, quite high density and colour, quite a large reverb on this one, and then the EQ to boost the low shelf and a lower frequency, as well as the a little bit of high shelf. Sorry, to take off some of the lower frequency. And you'll notice everywhere this 5 is basically this LFO here, which is set to a relatively low rate. It's not synced or restarting, so it's not starting every time you press the key or on the beat of a bar. It's just running slowly in the background up and down, and that affects these, so that whenever the keys are pressed, wherever this is in the LFO, it's going to affect all of these elements very slightly, and it just gives that sound a little bit more interest, a little bit more texture. Anyway, I'll be rendering these off for you into audio so that you don't have to deal with massive. However, I do have a set of massive patches out if you're interested, and we can put a link to them in somewhere. So we have two sets of the dub sounds. The second set will be fairly similar at sounding, just with a little bit more in the way of EQ, reverb, that sort of thing. And there's a whole big effects chain on there, including compressors, saturators, reverb, ping pong, EQ, chorus, and an auto filter, just to give all those sounds this sort of large, expansive sound. What else you can hear in there is the mandolin sounds, which are taken from sample packs. Again, auto filter, ping pong, and reverb on there, and then the sounds, which was just a processed sort of sound. And then the bass, which is a combination of 3 things: a sub bass, this sort of boom sound which you'll see in the breakdowns, and then this large sort of reverbed bass line which sounds like that. Not much more to it. The sub is built in massive, but again I'll render that down. It's just a very, very simple sub. Not much more to it. And the boom sounds are samples, which are actually quite subtle but give a little bit more tension, I would say, in the breakdown. And that is the low end, and that just leaves us with the vocals. So the vocals are sort of threefold. We have a layered set of vocals for oohs and ahs, with a bit of emphasis on the second lot, which were all recorded separately. And again, you can hear that they have reverb on them, as well as a little bit of EQ to take out any bottom noises. And I ran them through Stutter Edit to get some effects which I layered on top and placed them in the right places. Stutter Edit is a little bit sort of complex to get your head round, but basically you have to create another MIDI layer to control Stutter Edit on the audio layer, and then render it off to another audio layer. And then I spent a while putting these in the right places. The lead vocals, again, these were recorded by an Estonian vocalist, Zoe Elling. Wonderful, wonderful voice, and she did 2 or 3 takes where I just plucked out the sets of bars that I wanted. And you can hear that there is a little bit of a compressor, some improved reverb, and an EQ on there just to take the bottom off again. And once more ran that through Stutter Edit, so you get these sort of glitchy sounds that you can hear in the mix. And then the third set of vocals is essentially the chorus vocals, just the pounds of gold repeated, and that rounds it off nicely. So ultimately we have a full track. Intro, you can hear that, and the bass comes in further on just before it drops. All works quite nicely together in section 1, a breakdown. Second section, and the outro. And there you have it. Now you can check out the Ableton Live project file and have a play about and see how it's all been put together. The Pounds of Gold single is out now on Here and Now Recordings, so you can find that out there in the wild. It's by me, Stillhead. And the album that it's taken from, Iceberg, will be out towards the end of January 2016 on Here and Now Recordings also, and you can pick that up on vinyl and digital and hopefully CD at some time in the future. And you can find out more from me, plus download a stack of my music, my samples, my mixes and videos, all for free at stillhead.com. And if you want to find out more about the album, it's iceberg.stillhead.com. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoy the project file, and I look forward to hearing what sort of stuff you come up with, if anything.